Someone asked me recently, what is sound? And when I first heard that, I didn't know how to answer. And the next day at work, I was sitting at my desk and I was listening around and I heard all sorts of things. I heard things outside, I heard things within the office, I heard things, conversations in other rooms, and then I thought to myself, just the tiny simple things of keyboard clicks and all the sounds around us that we don't even hear. The first time I ever used sign language or introduced to sign language was when I was about 11 years old, and I would go and visit my grandma and grandpa down in South Bend, Indiana. Around age 50, my grandpa lost his hearing due to a spinal cord disease, and he was given the surgery to get a cochlear implant. At age 50, the idea of learning sign language in a new form of communication was kind of difficult. So my grandpa received the cochlear implant, but my grandma always wanted him to learn sign language. So when I would go down there, we would go to the local community center and we would go to sign language classes for anybody in the community, and that's when I was first introduced to sign language. Back in my freshman year of college, when I first started, my major was speech pathology and audiology. After having the exposure of American Sign Language, I wanted to work with deaf children. That's what I wanted to do. And speech pathology and audiology was that correct path. And the more I was in that program, I realized that's not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was sign with deaf children. And as an audiologist, I didn't think I would have that opportunity. So I decided to switch my major and become a communications major with an emphasis on American Sign Language. And the minute I took my first American Sign Language class, it was like a moment for me that I finally realized that this was my path. I picked it up quickly, and it just became a true passion of mine to finally be able to learn what a beautiful language it was, and I knew that I could turn this into a career and be an interpreter. So I started taking American Sign Language in Michigan, and now currently in Hawaii, I started up again in my pursuit of becoming an interpreter, and it's a new environment and a new teacher as well. And my teacher for the first time is actually deaf, and the first time that she asked what my major was, I told her interpreting, and she said to me in sign language, American Sign Language interpreting, and I said, yeah. And she was so excited that I am pursuing that career. And I was surprised because anybody else that I tell, it's mixed emotions, and she was overjoyed to know that I want to work within her community and that I find her world fascinating enough to dedicate my entire career towards that. And I think it created a really good bond between us, and I told her to be stricter with me as well during my learning, because this isn't just a side hobby, this is my dream to pursue this. Throughout this process, it's really important for me to analyze my skills and abilities as well as my weaknesses. The skills that I truly believe that I have are my receptive skills at this point. So when other people are signing around me, I do a really good job of understanding what they're signing. So in this time, I understand that I need to work on my expressive skills, which would be me personally signing. And I think that follows for anyone learning a new language. You're going to understand other people speaking it, and you're going to pick up vocab before you're physically able to say it or sign it yourself. A weakness that I know I have is finger spelling, but that's a joke within the deaf world as well, that hearing people can't use their hands as well. So that's something that all of us really have to focus on and practice. My hands are my tools. My hands are the future. My hands are what's going to take me into a life of success and a career that I love. You know, people dream about going to work and making a difference and not feeling like they're actually going to work, and my hands are what is going to give me that. And without my hands, I wouldn't be able to do what I want to do. I mean, the fact that I can communicate to others just off of my hands and my facial expressions, it's indescribable. Over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, as I become an American Sign Language interpreter, the thing that I'm most excited about learning is deaf culture. I can learn American Sign Language, and I have in the past, those classes, and it's still exciting, but I'm really excited to dig deep into the deaf community, the deaf culture, and the deaf world, and really learn how to be an appropriate ally and an appropriate worker within their community as well. I'm also interested to learn the interpreter skills as well, so the things that I should and shouldn't do, and just all the other aspects of the position in whole.